although the garage sale wasn't supposed to start until Friday and last until Saturday at the latest, in case you thought your junk was that valuable. They helped me prepare for it on Wednesday night. Together with Katie, my mother, and Beth, my older sister, we worked until late that day, and then worked like bees all Thursday. As a result, by 8 a.m. on Friday, we had boxes full of items that we had pre-priced and were ready to sell out. My heart was heavy when I picked up, examined, and stroked those things that once so much meant to both of us. And now some stranger will take them and carry away pieces of our memory in his hands. Perhaps one of the neighbors will buy something from the moments of a past, happy life in this house. Room after room became eerily quiet as things were taken out. Echo, which had been hiding in the corners for many years, has now returned and settled down like a master in the house. The master bedroom was the hardest part. The skirt I bought for her back in Maui, for sale. 2 pairs of funny, exactly the same sandals that we stomped along the beach in on that vacation. They are no longer needed. Her blouses, trousers, skirts, and all these endless shoes of different styles and colors. I'm really wondering if we can sell it all. Mom said to start with $10 a pair, although I'm sure each pair probably costs much more. Yes, what my wife really knew very well was how to masterly handle a credit card. Almost everything I picked up brought back pleasant memories. Several times I had to turn my head away to quietly brush away a tear. Maybe over time my memories will fade, but that hasn't happened yet. It seemed as if the contents of every box I opened cut my heart to the quick. Mom would send me into the kitchen from time to time, telling me to have a snack and rest. He and Beth shouldered this task on their shoulders, and even my broken heart could not stop them from completing their mission. Sitting in the kitchen didn't help me at all. My new apartment was small, and I wouldn't need all those pots, pans, and plates there. By the time we decided we were ready to start, the garage was filled with boxes from floor to ceiling. The plan was for Hank, my father, and his buddies to dress up in what looked like very official law enforcement uniforms. All of it was purchased at the store for Halloween. My father and his friends had permits to carry weapons, and they planned to parade during the crowd in full regalia. At the same time, a rumor was started that those who are looking for a 5-finger discount, in other words, take goods without paying for them. It's better to try your luck somewhere else than to try your luck at our sale. Mom said that she would handle the cash proceeds received from the items sold. On Friday, I was outside before dawn, setting up tables and tents. Fortunately, according to the weather forecast, the wind was quite light and no precipitation was expected during the day. Interestingly, even this early, some potential customers were already driving by, asking if we were open. At garage sales like ours, there are always early risers looking to find great items at mindlessly discounted prices. Beth showed up around 7 in the morning with fresh donuts. Soon after that, Mom and Dad showed up. While the women were fussing about, the men began to remove furniture from the house. With every item that we took out of the house, the crowd that quickly gathered in our yard increased in size right before our eyes. It was surprising to see so many people for such an early morning. Mom volunteered to deal with the cash coming in, and I was glad that we had thought ahead and brought a large package of disposable bags for customers to put their purchases in. Beth enjoyed interacting and working with the arriving crowds, and would come up with all kinds of funny nonsense whenever someone asked a question. The sister easily told them everything about things that they themselves would like to hear. Ahee Street was no longer crowded, since 2 of our closest neighbors took advantage of the crowd of people and also put out some of their things. We did not fail to exchange pleasantries with them. Darcy, Diana's closest friend on our block, showed up just before 8 a.m. "Chad, what's going on?" she demanded. "Good morning, Darcy. Actually, this is called a garage sale." I grinned, circling our yard with my hand. "I know what it is, asshole," she snapped. "Diana told me that you guys would just be selling some stuff. And here, yes, that's exactly what we do. Just think, it's not even 8 in the morning and we've already sold several good things," I boasted. "But..." She didn't say anything about furniture. Darcy said, frowning and looking around. I think she just didn't want you to know about it. Sorry, Darcy. I'd love to spend time chatting with you, but I have work to do. Enjoy the shopping? I flashed a white-toothed smile in front of her suspiciously frowning face. Darcy looked pretty angry that I had gotten rid of her rather carelessly. He and Diana always liked to think that they were in control of all decisions. So I wasn't at all surprised when a few minutes later my phone started ringing. Hey, Diana! Hello? Sorry, I can't talk for long. Very busy with the garage sale, you know. There's an invasion here. But thank God we are coping just fine without you. Chad, Darcy said you have clothes and furniture all over your front yard and driveway. The clearly angry voice of my beloved was heard in the receiver. What can I say? You have to get up early to get past Darcy. Yes, events are developing here, and very quickly. Well, that's it. It was nice chatting with you. Don't you dare turn it off her. Diana's hysterical cry choked as soon as I pressed the magic button and ended the conversation. Well, it was just her first call anyway. I let the next one go to voicemail. And the next one, and then the next one. Well, you get the big picture. Oh, stop. Paintings. How could I forget about them? I returned to the house, walked through the rooms, and took them all off the walls. Hell, the frames alone cost 10 times what I was asking. When I appeared in the yard again, my mother told me that Diana had managed to call her, but she ignored the call. Mom handed me an envelope with $500 and it was only $8.15. Wow, not bad at all. Looking around, I realized that, despite the crowd of potential buyers, our Egyptian pyramids of things had hardly diminished. Every time there was space on the table, Beth immediately emptied another box. By this time, on the road in front of our house, there was some kind of real zoo going on. Someone tried to back up their pickup truck in our driveway to load a dresser. Meanwhile, another envelope with $500 moved from my mother to me. Some obsessed lady was trying on Diana's shoes at incredible speed. Her eyes burned with such an unquenchable fire, as if she was going to take away with her 10 or even 20, worth a couple of $100. And I was also worried about how these slightly worn Louboutins would sell. Then Diana called again, and I decided it was time to pinch her cheeks again. Hello? I purred. Don't you dare say hello to me. Darcy said you're selling my clothes and shoes. Your friend is very observant. You shouldn't have touched my things, she squealed. Guilty. I swear you said it yourself. Get rid of ugly things. So I do it. Remember, you even wrote it down. I was talking about yours sweeters, about those that seem cute to you, but in reality they are completely creepy. You probably should have been more specific. Wait, I'll read it now. Here it is written in your hand. Get rid of ugly clothes. So I want to please you. Your wedding dress is sold. You know it made you look pregnant, so I already got rid of it. Isn't that cool? You are unbearable, Chad. What's wrong with you? Diana growled like a hungry tiger in a cage. Just following your instructions. By the way, most of your jeans are gone too. I remember you always thought they made your ass look fat. Personally, I don't think jeans have anything to do with your butt, but either way, they won't bother you anymore. Why are you treating me like this? Whiny notes appeared in her voice. This is a rhetorical question, right? Oh, honey, I have to go, I said cheerfully, noticing something in the yard. I see that the lady who is hung with your shoes like a Christmas tree is already waving money. I think she's ready to pay it off. We'll hear from you later. And I pressed the red button. Earlier this week. Wednesday morning. Stop repeating this. I've been to all our previous garage sales, if you remember. I answered calmly. You may have been there, Chad, but it was always me who planned everything. Now I'm just trying to make sure everything goes smoothly without me. My wife Diana was organizing a community garage sale coming up soon. The HOA we belong to limits us to such events twice a year, in the spring and at the end of the summer. We participate in them, but more for the sake of immersing ourselves in the life of the neighboring community, and not to earn money. Although, of course, it is nice from time to time to, so to speak, clear out the home Algaean stables and get rid of things that no longer matter in our lives. Diana won't be around this time. She's going to Cleveland, too, she hopes. Get some kind of merger done. It seems this is her 4th trip there in the last 3 months. She is not a lawyer, but works in the legal department of her corporation. I continued, waving the sheets of paper in my hand. There must be 6 whole pages of your instructions. Come on. They will help me anyway. My parents and Beth already said they would be here. I think Mom is only doing this so she can spend more time with Beth. I just wrote down everything that came to my mind. I'm just trying to make your life easier. Give me the list. I just remembered one more thing. Look, I'm writing down. Get rid of these ugly clothes. Do you understand everything? She tapped her pen on the pieces of paper lying in front of her. As you say, I'm not some capricious child. No matter how hard we try, we won't get much money for some things. And yes, some of them will still be stolen. This happens every time we hold events like this. Don't worry, I will keep my most valuable things under glass. You look at your phone all the time, I stated, noticing that she was constantly distracted by it. What's happened? I'm just checking the Uber and Lyft rates, Deanna answered somewhat hastily. They are constantly changing. You see, I just saved $10, she boasted nevertheless, without showing me the screen of her phone, but, on the contrary, putting it in her pocket. They'll be here in 15 minutes. As soon as the called car arrived, Diana ran out the door in the blink of an eye. For some reason lately we've been looking more and more like work colleagues than a married couple. What do they say? You can see a lot just by watching. Diana and I were at someone's graduation party. The stress of this fusion was starting to take its toll on her, and she probably should have stopped drinking alcohol a few drinks ago. On the way home, she began to playfully rub my pants, to which my fighter could not help but react. Well, 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 it looks like someone is ready for action. Step on the gas, Chad. My thoroughly licked wife grinned. I increased my speed, and we soon arrived home, safe and sound. Once inside, we took off our clothes and rushed to the bedroom. There Diana pushed me onto the bed, and as soon as I fell, she attacked my fighter with her mouth. It was great, so I relaxed and enjoyed the moment. Suddenly she stopped, stood up, and in one quick movement found herself on top of me. We both quickly ran out of energy. A short time later, when Diana, dousing me with alcoholic fumes, was already fast asleep on my chest, although she never had time to get off me, I replayed the last 20 minutes in my head. And here's what I noticed that was unusual. 1. She never initiated sex first. 2. I never so didn't like my fighter. So what exactly happened tonight? At the party, she didn't leave my side the whole evening. So if it wasn't me who awakened the insatiable sexual predator in her, then who? I assumed something was rotten in Cleveland. So when her next trip there was announced, I alerted my somewhat expensive private investigator about her upcoming itinerary. Yes, on her next business trip to Cleveland, there were no obvious displays of affection in public. But my sneaky boyfriend installed motion-sensing cameras in every hallway of the 4-story hotel where Diana was staying. She really did a good job of creating a distraction. Diana left her room, went downstairs in the elevator, and went to buy something in the hotel lobby. Then she returned to her floor, but entered another room. And only before dawn, she returned back to her place. Game, set, and match. Friday afternoon, Deanna's parents appeared. Hank stopped them talking on the sidewalk, so I went out to them myself. Chad, what are you doing selling all this stuff? Deanna told us that there were only going to be a few small tables on display with items for sale. Apparently she's not very good at math, I answered calmly. She also said that you don't answer her calls. It is not true. I've already talked to her several times this morning. Well, she says you hang up and then ignore her repeated attempts to call back. Her mother interjected disgruntledly. Why don't you call her and tell her to tell David that he better be careful in the near future? I suggested it to her. David? Who is David? Well, apparently this is the asshole she has sex with during her so-called business trips. If you need proof, I have something for you. I knew I would need convincing evidence. What other evidence? Her father attacked me. Here you go, a photograph. You can keep it because I still have plenty of these. As you can see, the image is dated from this morning, namely 4:21 a.m. Please note that Diana leaves the room barefoot, with her blouse unbuttoned, and she carries her bra and shoes in her hands. And where does she sneak from? Oh, this is David's room where she spent the whole night. Look, what an exemplary wife. My voice oozed with sarcasm. Both parents instantly lost the gift of coherent speech. Her father just opened his mouth and stuttered because words were difficult for him. But, you can't sell all her things. He finally formulated his thoughts. Hey, come on. I have 6 pages of instructions here from Diana on how to run a successful garage sale. I think I can handle this matter. Then I noticed my mother waving to me from the yard, surrounded on all sides by buyers with bucks in their hands. Sorry, I think I need to solve a problem that Katie seems to have. I'm leaving you, and if you want, you can call and talk to Diana. Oh, and don't forget to ask her about David, I shouted, moving away while they stared at the photo of their slutty daughter. I arrived on time. Someone from the crowd was furiously haggling over the price of a set that had previously belonged to Diana's grandmother. Of course, I wish it would all be taken away quickly, but the antique furniture was made by Gustav Stickley I around 1910, so it cost a lot of money. In the end, we agreed on 1,000 for a bookcase, a table, and 2 side chairs. From the last time I checked the value of this antique online, they bought it for about 1/4 of the real price. Perfect. I really wanted someone to get these things because they so much meant to Diana. If someone else bought her family jewelry, it would be a great Friday. When I returned to Diana's parents, they had tears in their eyes and looked depressed. My phone rang again, but after a quick glance at the screen, I saw that it was only Diana. There was nothing to talk about with her. She says, "She loves you, Chad. Can't you two come up with something?" her mother begged. "I've already thought of something," I said, pointing my thumb behind me at the human ant-hill buzzing and scurrying chaotically around our yard. "We'll get rid of everything we don't need, and I'll move into my own apartment." "And Diana?" "Well, she can live here with David if she can keep up with her mortgage payments." Realizing the futility of persuasion, they drooped and shuffled away, wiping away flowing tears. I still felt sorry for them, since we always got along with them. Diana called again, and this time I answered. "I'm really sorry, please stop this sale." She whined into the phone. "Hey, I'm so sorry that you don't see how a bunch of strangers attacked what we put out in front of the house. Wow, they're taking away the things left over from our past life, worse than a horde of cockroaches. Oh my God!" There was a sob on the other end of the line. "Well, you told me to get rid of all the disgusting things, and everything you wear makes you look like a disgusting, insidious creature. So I suggested that your things be moved. By the way, how is David doing?" Diana didn't immediately find an answer, so I just hung up. Again. By 2 o'clock in the afternoon, when there was still an hour left before the end of the sale, all the furniture and jewelry had disappeared, just like most shoes. Apparently, the Brooks and Hoka brands are very popular among garage sale enthusiasts. We still had a lot to sell, but most of the front lawn was already clear of items on display. And I was walking around with 5,000 in my pocket, which made me a little nervous and not too safe. I was not surprised when I read another message from Diana begging me to stop wasting her things. I wrote back that one of the most valuable things, her jewelry, had gone missing somewhere. Probably someone managed to buy them and is already showing off her rings, earrings, and chains. To this came a cry full of suffering. "You are a skagard!" It was already 3 in the afternoon, but Beth and Katie were still briskly selling goods, so another hour and a half passed before the traffic jams in our yard finally cleared up. We weren't going to continue selling on Saturday, so we just put the remaining items back in the boxes and pushed them into the garage. Diana's plane wasn't due to leave Cleveland until after dinner, and she called several times from the airport. Lounging on a sun lounger with a bottle of beer in my hand, I answered one of her calls. "Hey, slut. How was your trip?" "I'm sorry," said a quiet voice on the phone. "I can imagine how sorry you are. But this doesn't change my plans." What plans? I moved out. I rented an apartment not far from work. But how can we work things out if you've moved? Attention, we have urgent news, I exclaimed in the voice of a TV reporter. We will not settle anything. You changed. You've been caught. Game over. Maybe next time you'll have better luck. Or maybe not. I could say that I could hear Deanna being choked by spasms and sobs, but I somehow lost the desire to worry about her condition. I'm sorry, Chad, she finally said. Will you still be there when I get home? Of course not. Moreover, I do not intend to ever cross the threshold of this house. By the way, Katie took your half of the garage sale proceeds. She's eagerly awaiting your call, and I think she has a few choice words in store that she's going to say right to your face. I never thought that my mother knew such expressions. Oh my God, I really ruined my life. I'm not going to dispute this brilliant but somewhat belated conclusion. Apparently, what we had meant so little to you that you so easily decided to throw it in the trash. If it's any consolation, it's not just your life that's ruined, I continued. You know I shared a copy of the photo I gave to your parents with your David's wife. If I were you, I would run without looking back if you suddenly see her heading in your direction. She whimpered for about a minute. Hearing and feeling how she suffered comforted my so-called fragile male ego a little. Petty, I know, but still. Deanna was the first to break the long silence. Divorce? She asked in a colorless voice. Yes, sure. What did you expect? I didn't think this through. This all happened to me while I was on the road. Well, then forgive me for overreacting. I deserve it. What will happen to the house now? You can buy my half, or we can sell it. In such cases, this is what usually happens. All my good memories there are now crap, so I'm glad I got out of there already. Can we still be friends? Diana asked with timid hope in her voice. It's unlikely. Maybe in 50 years, somewhere in a nursing home. I answered her with a chuckle. I'm sorry. The quiet voice on the phone again. Yes, you already said that. My plane is landing. You're not going to pick me up this time, are you? Apparently, just in case, she clarified. Well, I do not. I hope your luggage doesn't get lost. I wouldn't want you to lose all those special things that you put on. Especially for David. I finally couldn't resist a little prick. I love you, were her last words. As you say, I said, and ended the conversation. By the following Tuesday, the divorce papers were served, of course, in Diana's office. At the same time, David received papers equivalent to a lawsuit for alienation of affection. I may have wasted my money on this, but in the end, it had the desired effect. All the cards I had in my hand were photographs of both of them, entering his room at night and coming out only the next morning. There was no way to prove that they had sex there, but at least they were both excluded from the fusion team. And I think their chances of moving up the ranks in this company were close to zero. Even though I had Diana's written instructions for the garage sale, my lawyer warned me that the judge might see things differently. Let's see. There's always a chance. And even if I have to repair the damage done to her, those precious and beloved original things that she treasured so much are now gone, along with all the dear and pleasant memories that were associated with them. As it turned out later, the judge demanded compensation from me only for those things for which Diana could prove that they belonged exclusively to her. Unfortunately, no paper receipts have survived, so excuse me. In the end, this whole story didn't cost me that much, except for the heartache. Don't believe those who tell you otherwise, but I will try to overcome this. Yes, I have a lot of weight on my shoulders and serious trust issues. However, life has dealt many other good people even worse cards than mine, so I can handle it. Subscribe to our channel so that your second chaff doesn't cheat on you, and go ahead and listen to the next story, because this story is nothing compared to the next one.